We've written many times about how Major League Baseball has a diversity problem in its front office and executive ranks. General managers are almost all youngish white dudes from Ivy League institutions, and they have hired people in their own image for years. That, combined with astoundingly low starting salaries for entry-level baseball operations employees, which make it far easier for well-off young men with family money to take the jobs, has led to a profoundly homogeneous group of baseball execs. Major League Baseball has acknowledged this and, yes, appreciates that it is a problem. There have been some efforts, such as an intern program aimed at combating this, but that's only one small step. The league has also hired a diversity and leadership team and an executive search firm aimed at both assessing and addressing the problem. Earlier this week, Tom Verducci of Sports Illustrated wrote an article about all of this that does not give me a lot of confidence that these people are going to be effective in cracking this nut. Verducci talks to Jose Thames, who is on a Johns Hopkins University council which has consulted with Rob Manfred and Major League Baseball and who works for an executive search firm. Thames says that the problem is skill set bias, in which teams are selecting overwhelmingly for candidates with analytics backgrounds. That's plausible, and given the needs of a baseball front office, it's fair to prefer candidates with those backgrounds. They need people who do analytics, so that's who they're hiring. But then he says this analytics is the new language of baseball. To rise to key decision-making roles, you must be not just fluent in analytics but also expert in them. 17 of the 23 general managers hired this decade since 2010 attended an Ivy League school or another elite private institution. This trend is where Thames and his team found a skill set bias, or as he said, another way of saying it is an old and true axiom. People like to hire people who are like themselves. Take all the GMs who went to Cornell and Dartmouth, and if you're harvesting people from those same schools, you're not going to get quite the diversity if you pick from schools like Howard. What the passage is describing, preferring guys from one's own Ivy League alma mater who are like themselves, is decidedly not skill set bias. That's plain old discrimination. It's hiring people who are like you and who know the same people you know and who, figuratively speaking, speak the same language you do because you're more comfortable with them. The only way it would not be discrimination is if places like Howard, or any other university, did not produce graduates with analytic skill sets. And that's, quite obviously, not true. But it gets worse. Baseball acknowledges that the internship program is not enough to increase diversity in the executive ranks. Rather, they need to get diverse employees who are already working for clubs to stay and to advance. One way they're doing that is an analytics training program. Great, except it's gonna cost the low-level employees close to $10,000 to take the course to bridge what it calls the analytics skills gap. The Hopkins team is developing a curriculum to offer an executive certificate in baseball analytics. It plans to offer the 12-week program beginning in January 2018 to employees in professional baseball, including managers, coaches, coordinators, player development personnel and scouts, as well as all front office personnel seeking additional skills related to on-field strategy, talent, evaluation and compensation, and emerging analytics topics. The 12-week course is expected to cost $9,600, a fee that may be daunting to most low-level baseball organization employees seeking the analytics skills to advance. The school hopes the costs eventually could be subsidized by franchises that submit attendees, as well as by corporate underwriting, especially from Major League Baseball sponsors. If your problem is that you're hiring mostly rich white kids with Ivy League analytics degrees who can afford to take low-paying entry-level jobs, and your solution to that problem is to offer to diverse employees without those means or that background a $9,600 seminar that may or may not one day underwritten by someone else, you're doing it exactly wrong. Indeed, you're actually creating a new barrier for them and signaling to them even harder that they should go work someplace else. Unless and until baseball understands that Ivy League dudes hiring other Ivy League dudes who are like themselves is not skill set bias but is, in fact, discrimination, it will continue to hire overwhelmingly white men. Unless and until it understands that paying workers peanuts for years before advancing and charging them large sums of money to acquire the skills for advancement is going to select for wealthy people, it will continue to hire wealthy people. As long as Major League Baseball's hiring practices favors wealthy white men, it will not solve the very diversity problem it says it cares about. It's that simple. Originally this article stated that Thames was on baseball's Diversity Council and works for the executive search firm used by Major League Baseball. This was in error. Thames is a member of a council at Johns Hopkins University that has consulted with Rob Manfred and Major League Baseball and works for a separate executive search firm. Follow it. Craig Calcaterra. A division title WASNT in the cards for the Astros on Saturday. The team got off to a hot start. Dallas Keuchel fended off the Mariners for 5 scoreless innings and the offense built a 6-run lead, relying on key hits from Derek Fisher, George Springer, Josh Reddick and Carlos Beltran to distance themselves from the third-place rivals. In fact, everything looked hunky-dory until the 6th, when Gene Segura ripped a 11 slider into the left field stands to spoil the shutout. Robinson Cano kicked off a 4-run rally in the 8th, followed by Mishanage's 2-out 9th-inning blast, but in the end, it was too little, too late. Beltran and Reddick returned with a pair of RBI hits to preserve the advantage, and Joe Musgrove shut the door in the 9th, battling through a 7-pitch at-bat to catch Cano swinging to end the game. Just as the Indians needed a Twins loss in order to clinch the division, however, the Astros couldn't secure the AL West on their own. Clinching on Saturday would have necessitated an Angels loss to the Rangers, something the division rivals just weren't willing to do. Parker Bridwell stymied the Rangers' offense through 6 strong frames, and the bullpen chased his quality start with 3 innings of no-hit ball to complete the shutout. Justin Upton, meanwhile, supplied the whole of the Angels' offense with a pair of home runs, his 30th and 31st shots of the season. With the Angels' win, the Astros will sit tight until they get another shot to wrap things up on Sunday. It's not a bad day for clinching, either, with newly minted ace Justin Verlander set to make his final home start of the regular season. He'll go up against the Mariners' Andrew Moore at 210 ETS. Houston hunts for the sweep and the division title. Follow at Coast Fangirl. The Indians didn't let Friday's loss turn into a skid. They got back on the feet with an 84 win over the Royals on Saturday as they continued counting down to the division title. Carlos Carrasco WASNT at his best, scattering 4 runs and 5 strikeouts over 6.23 innings, but Jason Hamill was worse, lasting a full 6 innings after giving up 7 runs on 11 hits and a walk. The offense came through for Carrasco in the bottom of the 6th inning. Francisco Lindor collected his 40th double of the year, a Torby line drive that also helped extend his extra base hitting streak to 10 games. He'll need 4 more to tie Chipper Jones and Paul Waner's all-time 14-game record. Austin Jackson, on the other hand, roped a 2-run single that looked a lot like a Little League home run. A solo shot by Edwin Encarnacion and 2 solid innings from Cleveland's bullpen helped seal the deal with a comfortable 4-run lead. With the win, the Indians needed the Twins to take a loss to the Blue Jays in order to clinch the division title. The Twins were quick to oblige. Marco Estrada crafted 8 innings of 2-hit, 4-strikeout ball, muffling Minnesota's bats, while Josh Donaldson, Jose Bautista and Kendrys Morales enjoyed multi-hit games. Following the Blue Jays' victory, the Indians found a new kind of winning streak, one they hadn't replicated in 18 years: back-to-back division titles. The Indians are the 2017 American League Central champions. First back-to-back titles since winning 5 straight from 199,599. Jordan Bastian at Mill Bastion, September 17, 2017. Follow at Coast Fangirl.